You don't belong here. Find another bank. The pristine marble lobby of First National Bank echoes with those words as security approaches an impeccably dressed black woman. She clutches a briefcase containing documents that could change everything. Her calm smile never wavers, even as whispers follow her exit. What the sneering manager doesn't know, she holds the power to shut down his entire world with a single phone call. What would you do if someone judged your worth by your appearance? Drop your country flag, Bella. But first, let's see how deep this rabbit hole of prejudice goes. Dr. Amara Johnson, 42, arrives at First National Bank's flagship branch in her Tesla Model S. Designer suit, Hermes bag, Harvard MBA confidence. She's here for a routine corporate account setup, or so it seems. Branch manager Derek Patterson spots her through his office window. 20-year banking veteran, suburban background, unconscious bias training he slept through. His eyes narrow as she approaches the VIP customer service desk. The receptionist, young and nervous, glances between Amara and Derek's disapproving glare. Regular customer service is over there, she stammers, pointing to the longer line with plastic chairs. Mora's eyebrow arches slightly. I have an appointment with the branch manager for a corporate account. 7-figure initial deposit? Uncomfortable silence. Other customers, mostly white, mostly older, begin staring. Derek emerges from his office, posture screaming skepticism. I'm Derek Patterson. You called about… what exactly? His tone suggests he's already decided she's wasting his time. Mara extends her hand. He hesitates before shaking it limply. Dr. Amara Johnson, I'm opening a corporate account for my company's East Coast operations. Derek's laugh is sharp. Corporate account? What kind of business? The question hangs loaded with assumption. Amara's jaw tightens imperceptibly. She's heard this tone before. The subtle shift that happens when success doesn't match expectations. What Derek doesn't realize is that Amara's business employs 50,000 people worldwide. Technology consulting, Amara responds evenly. We're expanding our regional headquarters here. Derek's skepticism intensifies. Technology, consulting, he draws out the words like they're foreign. And you're looking to deposit? Initial deposit of $2.3 million. Monthly operating funds averaging $800,000. The numbers should command respect. Instead, Derek's expression suggests he's humoring a delusion. I see, and what kind of references can you provide? Mora's composure remains intact, but fire flickers in her eyes. References? I wasn't aware character witnesses were required for standard banking services. Well, for accounts of this magnitude, we need to verify legitimacy. Derek's voice carries the weight of someone who's never been questioned, especially with certain demographics. The word hangs in the air like a slap. Nearby customers pretend not to listen while hanging on every word. The young receptionist looks mortified. Certain demographics? Amara's voice drops to a whisper that somehow carries more power than shouting. Derek realizes he's stepped over a line, but doubles down. You understand. Due diligence. We can't just take anyone's word for these amounts. Anyone's word. Amara nods slowly, processing. I see. She opened her briefcase, retrieving a folder of documents. Bank statements, tax returns, corporate filings, all bearing letterhead that would make Derek's knees buckle if he bothered to read carefully. Derek barely glances at them. These could be fabricated. We'll need to verify everything independently. Could take weeks. Amara's phone buzzes with a text that will change everything. Board meeting moved to 2 p.m. Your call on the Patterson acquisition. Weeks? Amara's voice remains steady, but her grip tightens on the briefcase handle. For standard account verification? Derek shrugs. That's our process for unusual circumstances. The phrase hits like a physical blow. Amara glances around the lobby, white customers being fast-tracked, loan officers falling over themselves to assist a teenager with a trust fund, elderly man being offered coffee and cookies while his account is processed instantly. I'd like to speak with your supervisor, Amara says calmly. Derek's chest puffs out. I am the supervisor, this is my branch. Then your district manager? He's in meetings all day. Look, Miss Doctor. Derek's jaw clenches. Doctor, I'm trying to help you understand reality here. Maybe you should try a smaller bank, something more appropriate for your situation. The insult lands with surgical precision. Amara's face remains impassive, but her hands tremble slightly. 30 years of education, building a tech empire from nothing, and she's being dismissed like a child with a piggy bank. My situation, she repeats quietly. Exactly. No shame in starting small, working your way up. Derek's patronizing tone makes nearby customers shift uncomfortably. There's a community bank down the street that might be more welcoming. The coded language isn't lost on anyone. The young receptionist looks ready to crawl under her desk. An older black security guard near the entrance has stopped pretending not to listen. Amara closes her briefcase with deliberate precision. I see. And if I were to escalate this conversation? Derek's confidence wavers for a microsecond before returning full force. To who? I've done nothing wrong. I'm protecting this bank's interests. Protecting them from what, exactly? From risks. He's careful with his words now, but the damage is done. Amara stands, smoothing her skirt. Mr. Patterson, you've been very educational today. Derek misreads her composure as defeat. Glad I could help. Clarify things. Good luck with your endeavors. She walks toward the exit, every eye in the lobby following her. The security guard nods respectfully as she passes. Derek returns to his office, already forgetting the interaction. At the door, Amara pauses, turns back. Mr. Patterson? Yes. I'll be in touch. As Amara exits, she speed dials a number marked legal, emergency. The voice that answers says, What do you need, boss? Amara sits in her Tesla, hands trembling with controlled fury. 25 years since she'd experienced such blatant discrimination. Her phone shows 17 missed calls from her executive assistant. She dials back. Sarah, I need you to pull every file we have on First National Bank. Every loan, every investment, every board connection. Already on it. Sarah's voice is crisp, efficient. I saw the calendar alert for your banking appointment. How did it go? Amara's laugh is bitter. Exactly as expected. How's our acquisition research coming along? Interesting timing. First National's parent company has been struggling. Their stock price dropped 15% last quarter. Several board members are pushing for strategic partnerships. And our position? Through our various investment funds, we control approximately 23% of their holding company. Not enough for a hostile takeover, but significant leverage. Mara's mind calculates rapidly. What about the regional director? Michael Chen. He's been trying to get a meeting with you for months. Wants to discuss expansion opportunities. Perfect. Amar's voice hardens. Set up a meeting for this afternoon. Tell him it's urgent regarding branch operations. Should I mention the Patterson incident? Not yet. Let's see how deep this goes first. Amara hangs up and immediately calls her legal team. Marcus, I need a discrimination case evaluation. Potential federal civil rights violation. Banking sector. Marcus Williams, senior partner at the city's most feared law firm, sounds immediately alert. What happened? Amara recounts the encounter, her voice steady but furious. Marcus whistles, low. This is textbook discrimination. Banking regulations are crystal clear on this. You have witnesses? Entire lobby full, plus security cameras. Amara, this could be huge. Not just for you, but for systemic change. Are you sure you want to pursue this? Amara stares at the bank's marble facade through her windshield. Marcus, I've spent my career building bridges, creating opportunities, proving that success has no color. Today, I was reminded that some people will never see past their prejudices. So, what's the play? Professional destruction. I want Derek Patterson to understand that his assumptions have consequences. I want this branch to serve as an example. And if they settle quietly, they won't get the chance. This goes public, goes federal, goes everywhere. I want congressional hearings. I want policy changes. I want every banking manager in America to think twice before they treat someone like they treated me. Marcus's admiration is audible. You're not just fighting for yourself. I'm fighting for every person who's ever been dismissed, diminished, or denied because someone looked at them and saw a stereotype instead of a human being. As Amara starts her car, her phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Saw what happened at the bank. You're not the first. I have evidence. Regional Director Michael Chen takes Amara's call immediately. His voice carries the desperation of a man watching his career crumble. Dr. Johnson, I've been hoping we could connect. I understand you're interested in expanding your corporate banking relationship. Amara's voice is silk over steel. Unfortunately, I've encountered some obstacles. Obstacles? I don't understand. Our private banking division is designed specifically for clients of your caliber. Tell me, Mr. Chen, what's your policy on account discrimination? The line goes quiet. Chen's breathing becomes audible. I'm sorry, discrimination? Has there been an incident? This morning, your Patterson branch. Your branch manager seemed to believe that certain demographics don't belong in corporate banking. Chen's panic is palpable. Dr. Johnson, I'm horrified. Derek Patterson he's been with us for years. I can't imagine. You don't need to imagine. I have witnesses. I have documentation. And I have a very good legal team. Please, can we meet immediately? I'll personally handle whatever happened. It's too late for personal handling, Mr. Chen. Dr. Johnson, I understand you're upset, but surely we can resolve this professionally. Your business is exactly what we're looking for. Amara's laugh is sharp. My business was exactly what you were looking for when you thought I was white. The accusation hangs between them. Chen scrambles for words. We would never... Mr. Chen, in 30 minutes I have a conference call with the Federal Reserve's Consumer Protection Division. In an hour, I meet with the State Attorney General. By tomorrow, this will be national news. Wait. Please. Let me fix this. How do you propose to fix racism, Mr. Chen? Silence stretches until Chen's voice returns, smaller. What do you want? Justice. Accountability. Change. I can fire Patterson immediately. Full public apology. Sensitivity training for the entire district. That's a start. But Mr. Chen, you're still thinking too small. This isn't about one branch manager. This is about an entire system. Derek Patterson returns from lunch to find his office phone blinking with urgent messages. The first is from Regional Director Chen, voice strained. Call me immediately. We have a situation. Derek dials, confidence already wavering. Michael? You called. Derek, tell me about your interaction this morning with Dr. Amara Johnson. The name hits Derek like ice water. Who? I don't... Black woman, business suit, wanted to open a corporate account. Ring any bells? Derek's mouth goes dry. Oh, her. Yeah, obvious scammer. I protected the bank from... Derek, shut up and listen. Dr. Amara Johnson is the CEO of Quantum Dynamics Technologies. Fortune 500 company. Net worth north of 800 million. The world tilts. Derek grabs his desk for support. That's impossible. She was what, Derek? Silence stretches as Derek realizes he's about to destroy himself with his own words. Michael, I was just being careful. Due diligence, you always say. I say due diligence, not racial profiling. Derek, she's filing federal discrimination charges. Against you, against the bank, against me. Derek's legs give out. He collapses into his chair. Federal charges? For what? I didn't do anything. You denied banking services based on race. You used coded language. You suggested she go to a community bank because she'd be more welcome there. I never said race. Derek, there were witnesses, security cameras. And now she's talking to the media. Through his office window, Derek sees the young receptionist fielding frantic phone calls. Other staff members huddle in worried clusters. What does she want? Derek's voice cracks. She wants your head on a platter. She wants this branch closed. She wants congressional hearings on banking discrimination. Derek's 20-year career flashes before his eyes. his mortgage, his kids' college funds, his reputation in the community. Can we settle, pay her off? Chen's bitter laugh carries no humor. Derek, you discriminated against someone who could buy this entire bank with pocket change. Money isn't going to fix this. In fact, Derek, there's something else you should know about Dr. Johnson's connection to our bank. What connection? Derek's voice barely registers above a whisper. Chen's pause stretches like an eternity. Derek, quantum dynamics holds significant investments in our parent company. Dr. Johnson isn't just a potential customer, she's essentially one of our biggest shareholders. The phone slips from Derek's hand, clattering onto his desk. Through the speaker, Chen continues. She could influence board decisions. She could push for executive changes. She could... Derek fumbles for the phone. How significant? Significant enough that when she speaks, the board listens. Derek, you didn't just insult a customer. You insulted someone who could shut down our entire regional operation. The lobby outside Derek's office has transformed. Reporters with cameras hover outside the building. His assistant knocks frantically on his door. The young receptionist looks ready to cry. It gets worse, Chen continues. She's called a press conference for 4 p.m. Channel 7, Channel 12, and CNN are sending crews. Derek's hands shake as he loosens his tie. What's she going to say? Everything. Your exact words. Your behavior. The bank's response. She's turning this into a national conversation about banking discrimination. Can we stop her? With what? Everything she's saying is true. Derek peers through his blinds at the gathering media circus. A sleek black sedan pulls up. The same Tesla from this morning. Dr. Amara Johnson emerges, flanked by 3 men in expensive suits who scream, "Legal team!" She's here, Derek whispers. At the bank, now? Walking in with lawyers. Chen's groan is audible. Derek, whatever you do, don't talk to her. Don't talk to anyone. I'm sending legal counsel immediately. But Derek isn't listening. He's watching Amara Johnson stride through the lobby with the confidence of someone who owns the place. Which, Derek is beginning to realize, she essentially does. She stops at the receptionist's desk. Even from his office, Derek can see her warm smile, her gentle manner with the young woman, who had been forced to turn her away hours earlier. Amara looks directly at Derek's office window and mouths 2 words that make his blood freeze. It's time. The lobby falls silent as Amara approaches Derek's office. Each step echoes with the weight of inevitability. Her legal team follows like a well-choreographed dance of professional destruction. Derek's assistant intercepts them. I'm sorry, Mr. Patterson is in meetings all day. Tell Mr. Patterson that Dr. Amara Johnson is here to discuss his resignation, Amara says calmly. The words cut through the lobby's nervous energy. Every employee stops pretending to work. Every customer cranes their neck to watch. Derek's door opens slowly. He emerges looking pale, diminished. Nothing like the confident man who had dismissed her hours earlier. Dr. Johnson, he stammers. I think there's been a misunderstanding. No misunderstanding, Amara interrupts. Just consequences. She opened her briefcase, retrieving a folder thick with documents. Mr. Patterson, I'd like you to meet my legal team. Marcus Williams, senior partner at Williams & Associates. Sarah Chen, my corporate counsel, and James Rodriguez, federal civil rights attorney. Derek's eyes dart between the lawyers like a cornered animal. I don't understand why... You don't understand why discrimination has legal consequences? Amara's voice carries to every corner of the lobby. You don't understand why denying services based on race violates federal banking regulations? I never said anything about race. Amara nods to Marcus, who produces a tablet. Security footage from this morning, timestamp 11:47 a.m. Derek's own voice fills the lobby. We can't just take anyone's word for these amounts. Certain demographics, maybe you should try a smaller bank, something more appropriate for your situation? The words hit like physical blows. Derek's face crumbles as he hears his own prejudice played back in crystal clarity. That's not what I meant, he whispers. Then what did you mean? Amara's question rings with the authority of someone who's spent decades dismantling exactly these kinds of excuses. Silence. Derek has no answer because there is no answer. Mr. Patterson, allow me to clarify who you dismissed this morning. Amara's voice carries the weight of absolute authority. I am Dr. Amara Johnson, CEO and founder of Quantum Dynamics Technologies. We employ 50,000 people across 6 continents. Our annual revenue exceeds $12 billion. Derek's legs visibly tremble. But more importantly, through our various investment vehicles, we control 23% of your parent company's stock. We are your largest minority shareholder. The lobby erupts in whispers. Derek grabs the doorframe for support. Which means, Amara continues, that when I call an emergency board meeting tomorrow morning, my voice carries considerable weight, and I will be recommending the immediate closure of this branch. You can't. I can, and I will, because this branch, under your leadership, has created a hostile environment for customers based on racial bias. It's a liability, a legal nightmare, a public relations disaster. Derek's 20-year career collapses in real time. Please, I have a family, I have a mortgage, I made a mistake. Yes, you did. You assumed that my success was impossible because of how I look. You decided that my business wasn't worth your time because of your prejudices. You treated me like a problem to be solved rather than a person to be served. Mara steps closer, her voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carries more power than shouting. Mr. Patterson, I have spent my entire career proving that excellence has no color. I have built companies, created jobs, and changed lives. But today you reminded me that some people will always see skin color before they see success. Derek opens his mouth to speak, but Amara raises her hand. I'm not finished. Every employee in this branch will receive retraining. Every policy will be reviewed. Every procedure will be audited. And you, Mr. Patterson, will serve as an example of what happens when prejudice meets consequence. The silence in the lobby is deafening. Derek looks around desperately but finds no allies, no support, no escape. Dr. Johnson, he whispers. What do you want? Amara's smile is sharp as a blade. Justice, Mr. Patterson, and change, systemic, permanent, undeniable change. And it starts with a phone call I'm about to make to the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve's Consumer Protection Division receives Amara's call at 3:47 p.m. By 4:15 p.m., they've opened a formal investigation into First National Bank's branch practices. By 5:30 p.m., the story leads the evening news across 3 states. Regional Director Michael Chen arrives at the branch looking like he's aged 5 years in 5 hours. His emergency meeting with Amara takes place in the conference room, where Derek had hoped to conclude his day with routine paperwork. Dr. Johnson, I want to personally apologize. Apologies are insufficient, Amara interrupts. This isn't about hurt feelings. This is about institutional discrimination that violates federal law. Chen nods desperately. What can we do to make this right? Marcus Williams slides a document across the table. Our demands are outlined here. Full compliance within 72 hours, or we proceed with federal litigation. Chen's eyes scan the document, his face growing paler with each line. Immediate termination of Derek Patterson. Closure of Patterson branch pending full investigation. Implementation of mandatory bias training for all staff. Third-party audit of all branch practices. Establishment of a $50 million 0-cents diversity and inclusion fund. Public acknowledgement of discriminatory practices. Federal monitoring of all regional operations for 24 months. This is extensive, Chen whispers. Discrimination is extensive, Amara replies. Your response should match the scope of the problem. The branch closure alone will affect 12,000 local customers. Then you should have trained your staff better. Chen's hands shake as he reviews the financial implications. The board will never approve this. The shareholders... Mr. Chen, I am a shareholder. The largest minority shareholder, in fact. Amara's voice carries the weight of absolute authority. And I'll be recommending these changes at tomorrow's emergency board meeting. Emergency board meeting? Sarah Chen, Amara's corporate counsel, slides another document across the table. Formal notice of shareholder action. As a holder of 23% of outstanding shares, Dr. Junkin has the right to call for emergency review of discriminatory practices that expose the company to federal litigation. Chen's phone buzzes with urgent messages. The media is calling this the banking while black scandal. Social media is exploding. Our stock price has dropped 8% since the story broke. And it will continue dropping until you take decisive action, Amara notes calmly. Dr. Johnson, please. Derek Patterson is one manager. This doesn't represent our entire company. Doesn't it? Amara opens her laptop, displaying a spreadsheet. In the past 5 years, this branch has approved 87% of loan applications from white customers versus 23% from minority customers. Despite identical credit scores and income levels, Chen's face goes white. How did you? Public records. Fair lending data. It's all available if you know where to look. Amara's voice is steady, methodical. This isn't about one racist manager. This is about systemic bias that permeates your entire operation. Marcus Williams continues the assault. We've identified 17 separate instances of discriminatory practices across 4 branches in this district. Different managers, same patterns. The Department of Justice is very interested in these patterns, adds James Rodriguez, the federal attorney. Banking discrimination falls under their civil rights enforcement mandate. Chen's phone rings. He glances at the caller ID. Board chairman. Answer it, Amato says. Speakerphone. Chen's hands tremble as he accepts the call. Richard, I'm in meetings. Michael, what the hell is happening down there? The chairman's voice fills the room. I've got reporters calling, shareholders panicking, and regulators asking questions. Richard, we have a situation with a customer complaint. A customer complaint? Michael, I just got off the phone with Senator Williams. She's calling for congressional hearings on banking discrimination. This is a federal issue now. Amara leans forward. Mr. Chairman, this is Dr. Amara Johnson. I believe you've been trying to schedule a meeting with me for several months. Silence stretches across the phone line. Dr. Johnson? You're the complainant? I'm the shareholder who was denied basic banking services this morning due to racial discrimination. Oh, God. The chairman's voice cracks. Dr. Johnson, I had no idea. This is catastrophic. It's correctable, Amara replies, if you're willing to take meaningful action. Anything, what do you need? Marcus slides the demands document toward the phone. We've outlined our requirements. Full compliance within 72 hours. Sending them now, Sarah adds, typing rapidly. The chairman's silence stretches as he reviews the demands. This is substantial? The violation was substantial, Amara responds. Your response should match. The branch closure alone will cost us millions in relocated customers, staff redundancy, facility costs. The federal lawsuit will cost you billions, James Rodriguez interjects, plus criminal charges for willful violation of civil rights laws. Criminal charges? Chen gasps. Banking discrimination, with intent to exclude protected classes, can be prosecuted as a federal crime, Rodriguez explains. Prison time, not just fines. The chairman's voice returns, smaller now. Dr. Johnson, if we comply with your demands, will you withdraw the federal complaint? No. Amara says simply. The federal investigation will proceed, but your cooperation will be noted in our victim impact statements. Dr. Johnson, please, we can make this right. You can make future discrimination less likely. But you cannot undo the humiliation, the assumption of criminality, the casual dismissal of my humanity that occurred in your bank this morning. The room falls silent except for the hum of the air conditioning and the distant sound of protesters gathering outside. 72 hours, Amara states. Full compliance or we see you in federal court. As the meeting ends, Amara's assistant texts urgent news. Derek Patterson just called a press conference. He's going to fight back. Derek Patterson's press conference takes place in the parking lot of a strip mall, hastily arranged by his brother-in-law who works in local radio. 3 reporters show up, 2 of them only because it's a slow news day. I want to tell my side of the story, Derek begins, his voice shaking. I've been with First National Bank for 20 years. I've never discriminated against anyone. The reporters exchange glances. One raises her hand. Mr. Patterson, we have security footage of you telling Dr. Johnson to find a bank that's more appropriate for her situation. How do you explain that? Derek's prepared answer crumbles. I was referring to the size of her claimed transaction. It seemed suspicious. Suspicious how? The amount, the documentation, it all seemed fabricated. Are you saying that a black woman claiming to have millions of dollars automatically seems suspicious to you? Derek realizes he's digging his own grave. That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? I meant I was protecting the bank. From what? Derek's silence stretches until it becomes unbearable. From fraud, from scams, from people who weren't legitimate customers. And what made you think Dr. Johnson wasn't legitimate? Derek's mouth opens and closes without sound. The answer hangs in the air, unspoken but obvious to everyone present. The same reporter continues, Mr. Patterson, Dr. Johnson's company employs more people than live in this entire county. Her net worth exceeds the GDP of several small countries. What specifically about her appearance or behavior suggested she was illegitimate? Derek's face crumbles. I made an error in judgment? Based on what? Based on, I don't know. I was wrong. You were wrong about what, specifically? Derek looks directly into the camera, his career ending in real time. I was wrong about who she was. I made assumptions. I probably let my biases influence my judgment. The admission hangs in the air like a confession at a murder trial. Mr. Patterson, do you believe you're racist? Derek's eyes dart between the cameras and the small crowd of onlookers. I don't think I'm racist. I've never considered myself racist. But I clearly acted in a way that was discriminatory. What's the difference? Derek has no answer. The reporter presses on. Mr. Patterson, if Dr. Johnson had been a white woman with identical credentials, would you have demanded additional verification? I don't know. You don't know? I'd like to think I would have treated her the same way. But you're not sure. Derek's shoulders slumped. No, I'm not sure. The confession spreads across social media within minutes. Banking while black trends nationally. Derek's name becomes synonymous with unconscious bias and institutional racism. By evening, Derek sits in his empty office, packing personal items into cardboard boxes. The termination letter arrived by courier at 6 p.m. Effective immediately. No severance, no references, no future in banking. His phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Saw your press conference. You admitted to discrimination on live television. This won't end well for you, A. Johnson. Derek stares at the message, then slowly types back, I know I was wrong. I'm sorry. The response comes immediately. Apologies don't undo humiliation, but they're a start. Use this experience to become better. Derek reads the message 3 times, struck by its grace. Even in victory, even after destroying his career, she's offering him a path to redemption. His wife calls. Derek, it's on the national news. The kids are seeing it at school. What do we do? Derek looks around his empty office, then at his phone displaying Amara's message. We learn from it, honey. We learn from it and we do better. But Derek's downfall is just the beginning. The federal investigation has uncovered a pattern of discrimination that reaches the highest levels of banking leadership. 6 months later, the Johnson v. First National Bank case has transformed from a single discrimination complaint into a federal mandate for banking reform. The Department of Justice's investigation revealed discriminatory practices across 847 branches in 23 states. Congressional hearings dominate C-SPAN for 3 weeks. Amara testifies before the Senate Banking Committee, her voice steady as she describes the morning that changed everything. This was never about one ignorant man in one small branch, she tells the packed hearing room. This was about a system that allows prejudice to masquerade as policy. Senator Williams, chairman of the committee, leans forward. Dr. Johnson, what systemic changes do you recommend? Amara's response is measured, comprehensive. Mandatory bias training for all customer-facing staff. Regular audits of lending practices. Transparent reporting of demographic data. And most importantly, accountability. Real consequences for discriminatory behavior. The Banking Equality Act, directly inspired by Amara's case, passes both houses of Congress within 4 months. Key provisions include quarterly audits of all lending and service practices, public disclosure of demographic lending data, mandatory bias training for all banking personnel, federal oversight of banks with discrimination histories, whistleblower protections for employees reporting bias. First National Bank becomes the first major institution to face federal takeover due to discriminatory practices. Their assets are rediscriminatory to community banks with proven track records of equitable lending. The ripple effects spread beyond banking. Corporate America watches as a single act of discrimination destroys a century-old institution. Sensitivity training programs become mandatory across Fortune 500 companies. Board diversity requirements are strengthened. Executive compensation is tied to diversity metrics. Derek Patterson, meanwhile, has become an unlikely advocate for change. After losing his house, his career, and most of his friends, he begins speaking at diversity training seminars across the country. His message is simple but powerful. I thought I wasn't racist because I didn't use slurs or burn crosses. But racism isn't just hatred, it's assumption. It's seeing someone's success as impossible because of how they look. His presentations are uncomfortable, raw, authentic. He shows the security footage of his interaction with Amara, then breaks down every assumption he made, every coded phrase he used, every moment his bias overrode his professionalism. I destroyed my career in 10 minutes, he tells audiences. But Dr. Johnson showed me that those 10 minutes revealed 20 years of unconscious prejudice I never examined. The banking industry's transformation accelerates. Customer service scores among minority clients improve by 340% industry-wide. Loan approval rates equalize across demographic lines for the first time in banking history. A new generation of diverse banking executives rises through the ranks, many citing Amara's case as their inspiration to enter the field. Universities add the Johnson case to their business ethics curricula. Harvard Business School names their new diversity center after Amara. The Federal Reserve creates the Amara Johnson Banking Equity Index to measure discriminatory practices across institutions. But the most significant change happens in a small community bank in Ohio, where a young black woman walks in to apply for a business loan and is immediately greeted with respect, curiosity, and genuine interest in her success. 2 years after the incident, Amara stands in the marble lobby of the newly opened Quantum Dynamics Community Banking Center, built on the exact spot where First National's Patterson branch once stood. The space buzzes with activity, entrepreneurs of every background seeking funding, families opening their first savings accounts, community leaders discussing development projects. The young receptionist from that terrible morning, Maria Santos, now serves as the center's customer experience director. She approaches Amara with a warm smile. "Dr. Johnson, your 3 o'clock appointment is here. The documentary crew?" Amara nods, straightening her jacket. 2 years of interviews, depositions, and congressional testimony have made her comfortable with cameras, but this feels different. This is about legacy, not litigation. The documentary director, a thoughtful woman named Rebecca Chen, sets up her equipment near the window where Derek Patterson once stood in judgment. "Dr. Johnson, when you walked into this building 2 years ago, did you imagine it would lead to federal legislation?" Amara's smile is reflective. "I imagined getting a bank account opened. Everything else was reactive." Reactive to what? The realization that my success, my achievements, my humanity, none of it mattered to someone who had already decided what I was worth based on my appearance. Rebecca leans forward. "And now?" Amara gestures around the bustling lobby. "Now we have proof that change is possible. Not easy, not comfortable, but possible. What do you want people to learn from your experience?" Amara considers the question carefully. That prejudice isn't always loud. It's often quiet, polite, even well-intentioned. It's the assumption that someone doesn't belong, can't afford, won't understand. It's death by 1,000 small dismissals. And the solution? Question your assumptions. Every single one. When you see someone and immediately categorize them, ask yourself why. When you treat someone differently than you'd treat yourself, ask yourself why. When you make someone prove their worth in ways you've never had to prove yours, ask yourself why. Through the window, Derek Patterson walks past on the sidewalk. He's lost weight, looks older, but carries himself with a dignity that wasn't there 2 years ago. He glances at the building, nods respectfully when he sees Amara, and continues walking. "Do you ever regret how hard you came down on Mr. Patterson?" Rebecca asks. Amara watches Derek disappear around the corner. "I regret that he had to lose everything to learn what should have been taught from childhood. But I don't regret holding him accountable. Accountability is how we learn. Consequences are how we change." "What's your message to other people who face discrimination?" Amara's voice grows stronger. "Document everything. Trust your instincts. And remember that your dignity isn't determined by other people's ignorance. You have the right to be treated with respect. You have the right to equal service. You have the right to exist in spaces without having to prove you belong there. And to those who discriminate, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Because in today's world, your biases aren't just morally wrong. They're career-ending, company-destroying, legacy-ruining mistakes." Rebecca nods, then asks the final question. "If you could go back to that morning 2 years ago, would you change anything?" Amara looks around the thriving community center, thinking of the federal legislation, the reformed banking practices, the careers saved by mandatory bias training, the young entrepreneurs now getting fair access to capital. "I'd change Derek Patterson's heart. But since I can't do that, I'm grateful that his prejudice led to progress. Your assumptions about others reveal more about you than about them." Rebecca turns off her camera, but keeps her microphone active for the closing segment. "Dr. Johnson, our viewers are going to want to know, what can they do? How can one person make the difference you've made?" Amara's eyes light up with the passion that built a billion-dollar empire. "Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Every interaction is an opportunity to either perpetuate bias or challenge it. Specifically, when you witness discrimination, speak up. When you see bias in your workplace, report it. When you catch yourself making assumptions, correct them. Change starts with individual choices, but it spreads through collective action." Rebecca nods toward the camera. "We're going to end this documentary with a challenge for our viewers." Amara faces the camera directly, her voice carrying the authority of someone who has fought institutional bias and won. "For the next week, pay attention to your assumptions. Notice when you judge someone before you know them. Catch yourself when you treat people differently based on how they look, sound, or dress. Most importantly, ask yourself, am I giving this person the same respect, the same benefit of the doubt, the same opportunities I would want for myself?" She pauses, letting the challenge settle. Because the truth is, we all have biases. The question is, what are we going to do about them? Have you ever witnessed workplace discrimination? Share your experience in the comments, and let's start a conversation about change. Rebecca signals for the final segment. "Dr. Johnson, there are rumors about your next project. Something about educational reform?" Amara's smile turns mysterious. "Let's just say that banking was only the beginning. There are other industries, other institutions, other systems that need examining. Can you give us a hint? Healthcare, housing, higher education, anywhere people are judged by their appearance rather than their character, their potential rather than their prejudices." Sounds like you're planning to stay busy. Justice doesn't take vacations. Rebecca laughs. "Any final words for viewers?" Amara looks directly into the camera, her voice carrying the weight of hard-won wisdom. "To everyone who has ever been dismissed, diminished, or denied because of who you are, your voice matters. Your story matters. Your fight matters. Don't let anyone convince you that discrimination is just how things are. Things are how we make them, and we have the power to make them better." The camera fades to black, but Amara's voice continues over the credits. "Next month, we're launching the Equality in Healthcare initiative, because if you think banking discrimination is bad, wait until you hear what happens when bias meets life and death medical decisions.